This is Sam Serious. It's another episode on Factorio. Gleba. It is, in my opinion, by far the most unique planet that I've encountered so far. With Fulgora pretty much second placing that one, but Gleba, it's a very different twist in terms of how it handles automation in general. So I was able to set up a mass production loops and whatnot to really ramp up production. Also took the time to try to figure out how to safely handle pentapod eggs. I would say I've came up with a method with that, but for the meantime, that's the base so far. I am setting up a train network just for the sake of gathering stone, so this way I can at least have the base locally be independent when it comes to like handling stone for landfill and stuff like that, and that would be crucial for like creating farm soil and stuff too as well. So I want Gleba to be able to manage itself while at the same time still being supplemented by the spaceships with their stone inventories. But yeah, I've been letting the robot network do its thing. What I've been slowly doing now that I've been basically expanding the farms, and it required me to get really into processing. First thing I would say about Gleba, make sure you have large inventory spaces, because your key foundation for nutrients is spoilage. You can turn spoilage into nutrients, and if you're letting a lot of things spoil, that can be converted into nutrients. But here's the thing though, how to maximize spoilage that you can convert into nutrients. That's why you need to process the that's why you have to process your fruits that you gather, the jelly nut and the Yumako. I strongly advise that you process all the Yumako and jelly nuts ASAP. That's the one material I would say that you should always be not overly stockpiling. Because one, you're able to generate a whole lot of seeds, and those seeds can then be used to plant more trees. And should you wind up easily getting a excessive amount of seeds, you can then have them overflow into a system that generates more soil that's compatible for the respective plant that you're seeking to harvest off of. And more soil means more land means more trees, and more trees means more fruit that you can harvest, which then means more fruit you can process, more seeds you can create at a time. Which in my case here also translate to more land for more trees. That's the loop that I'm trying to go for with this right now. So far I'm having a fair amount of success doing that. Another reason why I would recommend processing too as well is that you can process the Yumako seeds into their mash, as well as the gel nut into their jelly, in order to get more spoilage too as well. Their products will also spoil, and if one Yumako fruit will only yield like one spoilage, but if you break it down to the mash, it'll give like, I want to say two. Let me go out of camera mode here. Yeah, making Yumako mash will give two Yumako, which means those can spoil into two while giving seeds. Gelanet will give you four, which means those can be four spoilage instead of one, with still getting plenty of seeds out of that. And the spoilage you can convert into nutrients, so you actually get more spoilage to turn into nutrients that is essential to keep the biochambers going. I was able to get enough nutrients to, on average, sustain everything. And that should also help sustain production for other means for producing resources. I'm still in progress with that, but I want to get myself enough to a point where I can start building rockets and other Gleba exclusive products. Now, I plopped down a lot of chests here. I initially at first didn't have much idea to regard quality with chests, but seeing how much I'm having stored and let spoil in a centralized area, I can see quality for chests excelling in Gleba here. Elsewhere, not so much, considering I tend to cache things smallly with it, but here in Gleba, amount of inventory slots available does matter. This way, you're centralizing all your harvests that you gathered from all the trees immediately to the middle here, to where your logistic spots can easily handle all the materials and grab all the spoilage. The power plant system here is what I'm using to sink all the spoilage and pentapod eggs. Should I have too much of those quantities than I want, they immediately go into the logistic chest that will void them out. The logistic chest will only turn on should certain quantities of certain items within a network be met at a minimum threshold. Same deal with the pentapod eggs. The pentapod eggs, I keep the numbers extremely low for safety reasons. Now, should the amount of spoilage I'm getting exceed what I can sink in here, which is possible considering that the power plant's power supply does scale with power demand, which can affect how much I can consume at a time. Should that be the case to where I'm not burning through enough power to effectively sink all the spoilage and pentapods, well, thank goodness for the scrapper only having a 25% chance of return. These max out in speed in their own little scrap flower, I'll call this. I'll basically be scrapping excessive resources to oblivion. Now you're probably wondering, how are all these enough to supply power for everything? Answer, they're not. I referred back to one of my earlier blueprints that I've started earlier in the series and plopped down my own nuclear reactor. Because of the fact that the nuclear reactor is extremely fuel efficient and very extreme with its neighboring bonus, I was comfortable enough to plop this down on Gleba, knowing that I won't have to have a high throughput on nuclear fuel. So I have about 2.1 gigawatts worth of power available off this reactor, and on average I'm using only about 25 to 50% of it. Most of it is because of the logistics network. So I fine-tuned my circle here. So basically, where's my mouse? Basically, these two chests supplies the nutrients and the spoilage respectively necessary for these machines here. This machine here, I'm not using a biolab because should this ever run out of nutrients and stuff like that, it won't need more nutrients to jumpstart it, unlike the biochamber. Biochamber will produce more of the resources. But yeah, this is basically enough to where resources going into this can get the whole loop going. For Yamako seeds, I'm basically having all the Yamako being processed into their I'm basically converting all the Yamako into nutrients, but I'm also using this loop to create copper bacteria. This copper bacteria, this biochamber is just enough to produce enough bacteria to jumpstart this chain here. You got these 4 biochambers will convert one of the bacterias into 4, with a net gain of 3. I can use those to create a small little chain as long as they have the nutrients without the need to put in Yamaka mash, though they do need bioflux, which I have delivered via logistics requester chests. They'll then output all the bacteria into here. Any excessive bacteria will be drawn into this chest just to be turned into copper, or if they happen to expire on the spelt, the copper will go down into this chest here. Once all the copper gets harvested and put back into place, then the whole jumpstart loop of the bacteria of this biochamber, the copper bacteria, will start the whole thing again. These here will produce copper more efficiently. This is basically an inefficient cost to jumpstart a big efficiency loop. Same deal with the iron bacteria. They're basically being jumpstarted. The nutrients is being jumpstarted by the same means too as well. Assembly machine for no nutrient requirements. Biochamber to produce the speed and the mass. Jelly nut, though, I can't really do much about converting it into nutrients directly without going to spoilage first. But regardless, it's enough to get the bacteria going. Are these optimal? No, but it allows me to get a large amount of resources being produced fast. So this is a loop that's going to guarantee to cycle all of the nutrients around, so that way all these machines have a fair chance of getting the nutrients necessary to sustain themselves. Now I have installed an overflow system. This overflow system, I never thought I would say this, but I actually found a use for just your basic transport belt with these to force an overflow, while still guaranteeing that there's a basic amount of nutrients enough to keep all the biochambers going should these two nutrient machines fall short in supplying the nutrients. So I'm getting excess that is being bottlenecked out here. The bottleneck output belt is not bottlenecked, only the loop is going back into the local nutrient loop. And that's how I'm getting a large amount of nutrients being deposited into the chest and then being routed to other machines, such as the mass arrays of Yamaka mash and jelly production going. All those being converted into bioflux, and the bioflux is then being used for other means too as well. Now, I've spoken about a general strategy about how I just based to deny bug expansion. Anyhow, so I've spoken about the loop stuff involved with the jelly nut, Yamako, and the respective bacteria for copper and iron. What about pentapod eggs? Those are necessary for the biochamber production as well as agricultural science. Well, the strategy I'm using is still the same loop. Nutrient jumpstart the same as always, and then I'm using Yamako to produce all the nutrients in large quantities. Yamako is one of the higher basic yielding plants for it. Really, bioflux would be ideal to do this with, but I don't want to be taking too much away from bioflux, even though I am at a bit of a... Am I a bottleneck for it? Oh. Oh! No more bioflux. Here. I'm just gonna lazily plop down more of these. I'm spoiled with the bot network. Doing this like a lazy son of a gun. Out of bioflux. I'm noticing too as well the Yamako seeds aren't present in these chests as well. This gives me a visual cue to what's going on with resource management too as well. Oh, I just got this going. So, how am I managing pentapod eggs safely without ever having to use these turrets, which by the way, I should probably do this. Just in case. I haven't had a pentapod outbreak yet ever since I found the reliable method. I still don't want to be surprised should there be a deficit somewhere causing them to hatch. Yeah, this is a planet that you want to make sure to have things properly set up ASAP, because if you don't, you will regret it. I choose the Tesla turrets, for they do a whole lot of stunning. That helps contain the pentapods from going around causing damage, and should guarantee that minimal damage gets done to as well. The amount I placed down is overkill, for I'm producing only a very limited amount of pentapod eggs. So what's my strategy for managing pentapod eggs? 1, keep the quantities as small as possible, and 2, overflow them just enough to supply everything, but not exceed the voiding threshold. So, how am I doing this? Well, ironically, I'm using a requester chest for outputting. Now, you may be thinking, how am I using a requester chest to output something for a chest that's designed to receive something for a reserved operation? Trash unrequested. That includes item count. So I'm having this to where it will request up to 10, but should it receive more than 10 going into it, the extra item beyond 10 will then get voided out. Will then get put into trash just to be distributed into another spot in the... How did that happen? How did that happen? I suppose I can update my, add a new rule to managing pentapods. Include defenses even at the voiding area. Y'all just saw live to how quickly the pentapod situation can go out of control. I don't know what I was thinking, but I should have done that a long time ago. And that's enough range to have that issue contained. And I'm having these have enough coverage for the very high pentapod voiding too as well. Not that this likely will ever be used, but you never know what I do that might cause undesirable changes like that. Regardless, power system's been I just thought of another thing. What happens if the pentapod egg somehow goes into this chest system? Not that it'll ever happen, but still a possibility. Because I can see, because these chests, whenever it's beyond what can be requested or stored in buffer chest, will be like a random item chest for a bunch of things. It will be drawn out at priority, if I recall right. Okay. I'm a little bit more comfortable now. Anyhow, so again, I'm keeping quantity small with the trash system of the pentapod eggs overflowing out. Just have it prioritize other chests, requested chests that are needing them. Or going into a buffer chest. You know, I'm going to make multiple buffer chests just to keep them close. This way the eggs are being handled quickly as possible. There we go. This way there's a, this way the localized loops can have the closest buffer chests. Distance does affect where machines deliver things to. Anyhow. Biochambers. So I have normal inputs that are not seeds going in here. This line here is handling the nutrients. Now, should this chest here for the pentapod eggs will turn on should the biochambers in the output chest be low enough. When this chest activates, it'll then start accepting requests from what's being trashed from the pentapod egg protection chests. And the number on that one through is small, and will automatically put everything in here. And all the eggs will get consumed and turned into the respective products. This way, no pentapod eggs winds up hatching inside of the biochambers. These pentapod production facilities here, pentapod egg production facilities here with their eggs will always be running all the time. We'll have the products out to constantly void all the time should there be no demand for them elsewhere. There's something that is kind of a bit not explained, but it's possible to, let's say an item is about to spoil. Adding to that stack of item will drastically add to its lifespan. You can't add to its lifespan and make it take longer to spoil in a stack. These 10 eggs are present, but they'll always be maintaining a 100 to 90% freshness. The reason why that is able to stay at that percentage despite 10 eggs there all the time is because I'm constantly inflating their average spoilage time. This also goes to one of the number one reasons why I keep quantities small on top of keeping pentapods easy to control. A small number is more affected by a extremely large average versus a extremely large amount of items going into being supplied by a item with a high freshness. Because of this, one item going into that stack will make it to where it will make everything average out to a high freshness. So you always want to be constantly putting in new, fresh eggs into this in order to overinflate the average to a high freshness. This way these eggs don't ever get low enough to spoil and hatch. I was playing around with this and noticed that that spoilage mechanic works this way. As long as, and this will work as long as one, the item quantity that you're inflating its freshness average on is very low, and two, that you're not completing a complete stack. Once you complete a complete stack in the item slot, it will not accept any more items going into it, and the inserters may be prioritizing a secondary partial stack over it, which will encourage it to spoil within 15 minutes if it gets left untouched. This is why I'm also keeping quantities for pentapod eggs extremely small, to allow a stack that can be guaranteed to be interacted with, to allow me to really refresh the average to extremely high due to a low number of items being affected by one high freshness item. And three, should any outbreaks happen, the outbreaks will be very easy to dispatch due to the low quantity of pentapods present in the outbreak. Trust me, you do not want a gigantic amount of pentapods hatching like we just saw with this power plant right around this sinking power plant earlier. I've had a few close calls where I had about 5 stacks of pentapod eggs waiting in my inventory that just hatched. Luckily, I was just moving around real fast because if I just stayed there, I'd suspect to react, not realizing I didn't even get the chance to react to that. The only reason why I lived through that is because I was moving fast already before they can do a lethal blow on me. They got dispatched very quickly, of course, and I was lucky to get away from it at a 1 HP moment. They can, yeah, they can hatch and insta-kill you that fast. Because I've updated my logistics network to constantly void the eggs, any of these eggs will either go to their needed production stations or to be voided out through the power plants or through the scrap flowers. How am I producing agricultural science? Bioflux going into them, but on top of that, same deal to how pentapod eggs are being produced. Same deal to how the biolabs are being produced. It's just with agricultural science instead. I gotta get rid of quality out of these. This might cause some hiccups. Unfortunately for the sciences, there's not much that I can do to... Actually... I think there is. I might be wrong about something here. I might be able to do some number manipulation here. I'll have it prioritize fresh items first. Have it pull fresh items first and then the spoiling items last. I think I may have just fixed a lot of problems here. I want to see this average slowly increase. Sorry guys, I know this is not what you want to see right now, but I have to get carried away with this to see what I can get away with here. Because if what I'm thinking is correct, then just simply having an inserter spin them around, prioritizing fresh items first, should guarantee that I have the freshest science packs going into space. As always, I'll have these get 9,600. Come back to this eventually, but I want to see if all the sciences will have like a first set of stacks always be consistently higher. It seems to me that it's automatically sorting things out too as well, because and then I just also did a mass deposit into that chest too as well. I'm going to come back to this chest later on just to see where the scientists lay at. Because if what I'm doing here is correct, then doing what I'm doing here should help reconsolidate all the science stacks in a way where I have a fair amount of agricultural science packs that are reasonably fresh. The more decayed an agricultural science pack is, the less science research it will give. And hopefully these new batch of science packs that are going in here, for one, guarantee fresh science packs, and two, will help minimize spoilage. Oh, do I have these to... Where's my mouse? There's so much going on with logistic bots. Trash unrequested. This way, any of these science packs turn into spoilage, the spoilage will get automatically trashed and circled back into other inventory systems. That's the beautiful thing about the buffer chest and the request chest. You can trash what you don't want, have them automatically get sorted out to where you don't want them to be at. So yeah, this loop here, treating the science packs like the biolabs. I don't have the means on making rocket silos yet, or even supporting them, but this is where I'll be distributing a lot of resources at. Ooh. Good thing I made some turrets. Wonder why that happened. Nutrients. It's because that tray was obstructing that. That's why that happened. For some odd reason, when it comes to other objects in place, inserters can't allow another inserter to grab them. Well, I fixed that problem. So, obviously, harvesting trees generates spores. And pentapods like spores. And they'll go to these trees and attack them. That's why I have them loaded up with Tesla turrets. Now, with that being said, pentapods are definitely a force to respect. However, they can also be countered to as well. I'm exercising the same strategy against them that I did with Nauvice. Take out their nests before they start attacking your stuff. Because of the fact I got a mech armor that is dipped out with rare exoskeleton legs and decent battery storage and other means, I'm able to move around extremely fast. The submachine gun doesn't really cut it. The Tesla gun, on the other hand, really helps, not just because of its damage, but also too, it slows enemies down and arcs all over the place, so it's able to slow down a mass amount of enemies. The basic stomp pentapods are not bad, but I'm high enough on the evolution skill to where where is it actually? I'm high enough. I'm at about 0.61. I'm at 0.61. So they've actually evolved pretty fast. Which makes my offensive strategy even more important. Last time I checked was like 8 hours ago. There was like at like 0.31. Now start talking about big wigglers. Strafer wigglers aren't really all that bad. Strafers, they're annoyance as long and won't be dangerous to as long as don't let them get out of control. The stompers, on the other hand, I have to get close for the moment with what I have to in order to deal with them. Should I want to dispatch them fast with my laser equipment, even though they're resistant to laser. I'm giga buffed out with damage. One hit from them is very punishing. Bioflux is a very good resource. It gives you a speed bonus and health regeneration on top of the base buffing it does. On top of the base healing that does. But yeah, my slow giga buffing I've been doing myself has paid off in terms of allowing me to do my thing. And plus two, with these movement pieces being rare, move around pretty decently. The effects does last 16 seconds, so it's best to periodically click. And the Tesla gun, it's very advanced with how it does its thing. Medium pentapod. These guys you gotta be careful with. Gotta watch where their legs are going. If I see a leg going near me, I get away from them. That's a big guy. I never fought one of these guys before. Ooh, he's gonna be a problem. Deal with that eggs piece. Yeah, he's a nightmare to deal with. Gosh, he's tanky. Thought the mediums are bad? No, this guy takes the cake. The only thing keeping that bay is this Tesla gun. I can't even get close to him to let my laser gun, to let the laser stuff work their magic against him. Like a little jet fighter. Combination of bioflux giving me speed bonus. Okay, this is gonna be a nightmare batch to deal with. Okay, this is gonna be a fight. Bioflux is very powerful should you have plenty of mobility already. Ideally, I want to try to lure these guys away from their egg rafts. Because those egg rafts will be producing the more dangerous pentapods. Also, too, lakes can play advantage too as well to get out of there. It's just the strafers will be having range capabilities against you. A whole lot of pathfinding involved with these guys. If it weren't for the bioflux, I wouldn't be able to be this aggressive. As you can see, the stompers are the problem forces. So I cleared out a fair amount of them, though they're a little too far away from where I need to be. But as you can see, they're a little dangerous to contest. I want these bases to be far away from my place, which is possible. I'm going to have to buff up energy damage so I want to be able to handle these guys more easily. Strange. These pieces I for sure will want to destroy. That's a base I haven't seen before. An area that I've explored. I better start heading back to have these burnt through. Some of these eggs are probably about 5 minutes left. Yeah, Bioflux is very good to have for mobility's sake, especially giving you that boost of mobility should you need it. That should take care of them. But yeah, those pentapods are definitely a force to reckon with. Let's see, where's energy weapon? It's 5,000, 8,000. I can take care of those two. I produce about a fair amount of. I know for a fact I have a fair amount of Fulgor inside the pack spade. What's this shit doing? They're decent, actually. So what am I going to do next with the Gleba? Okay, kind of hinted more towards. I want to set up a bunch of rocket silos. But for that, obviously I need to make them, but also two, I need to get like circuit production going on in here, as well as for the low density frames and I think I should be eating heavy oil too. Does this make oil? I mean, I'm able to crack heavy oil down to it, but for bioplastics. I mean, from the jelly, I can make rocket fuel. Lubricant I can use. I can make sulfur. I can make plastic. From the looks of it, I don't need to, Okay, I don't even need to make oil products, because I'm able to make a lot of oil products directly from the plants themselves. In that case... Obviously, I want to put productivity in this. Alright, so let's see here. I got a bunch of productivity. Where did it go? I got that situated. I just want to see what its production numbers are. So this brings it down to 0.2. So 5 of these is 1 second. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is 4 per second. 6, 7, 8. Oh, wait. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 16. That there will be 32 rockets per sec, 32 rocket fuel per second. That should be 64 rocket fuel per second. Now, most likely, I won't be producing that much, but oh, what's going on here? Okay, I need to set some filters. That's going to cause problems. There's rocket fuel. Is it only here? Oh, no, it's in here somewhere. Set the filters. Yep. Cool beans. What's needed with these? Water. Oh, that's an input I didn't think about. I mean, I have an idea, but that's going to require me to revise the whole blueprint. Gotta love the robot network. I mean, there is another way of doing this I can think of, but yes, this will do. This will work. This will work, what I'm thinking of here. These long-handed inserters being a source of bottleneck. How many seconds at base for these things? 10 seconds. I'm gonna have to experiment with this in mass and see what it does. Furthermore, I may have to choose a different. Yeah. I gotta fix that too as well. Another way of doing this too is well to fix my worries. Think about this the wrong way, but it works. And then they can output the spoilage as necessary that way. Water per second, so it needs 6. I have placed out a little bit more biolabs than planned, though I need to have 4 of these, make a 60 rocket fuel per second deal, but this will work. Here we go. Do I need 60 rocket fuel per second? Probably not. But why not? Anyhow, this is probably going to be an episode a lot longer than what I'm needing, than what I'm wanting it to be. But yep. Other than setting up the rocket system and circuit production and other means necessary for handling things, should work. I have to figure out where I can. I've got to figure out how to average out the spoilage for these things. That's a task for another time. Anyhow, y'all, I'm going to work on making rocket launchers a viable option now. It's going to take some time. Anyhow, y'all take care, and I wish y'all well.